This is the video to accompany the pictures on Reverb of the 5150 guitar. There's also a whole series on this channel, on my channel, of me building this guitar from start to finish, making the body, getting it all together, painting it, how I did it. It's pretty interesting. It's really long. It's like, I don't know, maybe 30 hours of video on just this guitar. The only changes that were made recently since selling it, or since deciding, well, not since deciding, but the only changes that I've made to it would be, originally it had a Floyd Rose off my C-Series Kramer on it, but I put that guitar back together again because, well, my mom passed, and that was the guitar that she got for me when I was a kid. So I kind of put it back together again. So the trem is now a Floyd Rose 1984, right, with the big block on it. Let's see, where's any other things that I did? Oh, it's still got the same pickup. It has a Seymour Duncan. It's a one that was wound by MJ. It's a 59. So we have the Godo tuners, and the nut and the string retainer are back on the original. No, it was a B series, excuse me. I always get that mixed up. It was a B series Kramer that I put together. I also have a C series, but the B series was the one that put it together, that I used for the parts for this off of, and I actually made the templates. There's the neck plate, right? You can see it's bare finish neck. Doesn't have really any relicking on it, so to speak. I figured I was making this to be like the first day he got the 5150 numbers on the guitar somewhere. I think it was in that 1984 tour. I figured it out, but I don't remember offhand. In the videos, it shows all that stuff. Yeah, so I made the templates for this guitar myself. I build a lot of guitars too. There's a, you can see up there is my Explorer that I built. There's a bunch of guitars. There's a custom I built back. There's a Junior I built. Anyway, I got way too many guitars, and some of them have to go to make room for more guitars, so it's killing me to sell this thing, but I got like 4 of them, so I guess one can go. Like I was saying, all right, so the templates for this guitar I made off of the original B series guitar body. So this round, right, for the pickup is not round on the real ones, right, on the Kramers. It's a little weird here. It's a little weird here. And this is exactly the same as it. So this would be as close as I think you can get to like the routing pattern and locations of everything. Because this was this is basically, patterned exactly off of those guitars, analog templates, right? Same with the control cavity. So the control cavity is also an unusual shape. I don't know whether everybody's got it right. Maybe they do. And then the 2 locations for the retaining screws, and then under this, how the route actually is exact to a B series Kramer, as well as this route. Now, if you look at the route, you can see how it was actually, they fitted these guitars, I think, for a Floyd Rose after the fact that they were not Floyd Rose equipped guitars. So you can see how they kind of widen out this right here, right? That's on the original Bs, this little notch here. And then if you look, I don't know if I could get it, but under here there's a ledge, right? My finger kind of disappears under there. There's a ledge. So it's actually wider inside than it is here to make room for the sustain block. And that's how they did it in those days. And I'm sure Eddie's was exactly the same way. So there's the big block, tri-spring kind of deal. It's not the number, has no number on the plate, but it's a Kramer plate with a small, with that right pattern on it for the bolts. The neck started off life as an all parts paddle head that I reworked. So I glued on the ears. I basically glued the ears on the same way that Ed's would have had, so that, you know, if there were any glue lines, they would be in the same place. The tuners are these Godos, right? That would have been on those. Got the recessed Floyd nut screws there, as it would be, coming to a point. Now the neck is really kind of funky, right? Because I wanted to think, like, what did Unkert do to the neck? So we took like a, you know, a beak neck, and I guess the story that Unkert says is that he took off as much wood as he could before he would hit the truss rod, right? So I have, you know, a few beak necks. So I started off getting it to a beak neck, and then I just really took off a lot of wood off of it. So this is a really small neck, and I tried to make it close to the Music Man neck, right? The Ernie Ball Music Man EVH necks. So I have that. So the way it feels, it's a really roundy through here, right? It's not flat. It's like really round, and it's small. It's small this way, right? You can see how close you are to falling off the edge of the fretboard here, right? Which is what they were talking about with the Axis guitars, or rather, before they made them the Axis, when they were the Eddie guitars. Ernie Ball changed the necks a little bit to make them a little bit wider so that they wouldn't, you know, people wouldn't slide off the edge of the fretboard with a string, you know, and go, oops. But, you know, that doesn't happen. But it gives you a really very small feel here, like Ed's did, I'm sure. You know, looking at the pictures and spending hours measuring things and trying to figure out, you know, how narrow this thing was kind of a fun thing to do. Let me just set this down here for a second. I'm going to grab my calipers just to, maybe I can show you. So, all right. So right now I'm on, right now I'm on the neck, right around the nut. And we are at, well, let me read it. It's 1.6. God, blind in here. Let me just read it again. Yeah, 1.620. Right, so it's very narrow there. Here, let's go here. So at the 12th, we're looking at, I got my glasses on now so I could read it a little better. 2 exactly. And then at the heel, there's not much that's changed, right? Because it's basically the same stock sort of, you know, Strat heel, which is, on this guitar, it's 2.215. All right. Now, I also refretted the neck with these really big frets, right? The 6105s, I think, and then leveled and dressed them. So, you know, I'm not the world's greatest fret guy on the planet, but the guitar plays good, you know. It does. There's no, you know, dead spots or anything, or any weirdness in the fretboard. You can see has been pretty well relicked to an extent, right? So Eddie probably, I think the story goes that he scrapes the lacquer off with the razor blade, and I guess he, you know, missed some spots here and there, or, you know, continued on and forgot where he left off. So like here, he would have been scraping and he almost got through, and he was like, let me get a smoke. And then he came back and he was like, I think I did this one. And then here, so they're not all the way through. And that's what gave it this weird sort of hatched, quilted, kind of like, you know, random pattern to it. It's got a little bit of playtime on it, so there's a little bit of finger gunk on it. But as you play it more, you know, it's going to really look even more like, you know, over time, like how it is now, how his guitar is now, which is like destroyed. All right, so this is a lacquer, nitro lacquer, kind of like paint job on it. It's not glossy, right? You can see it has texture to it, but it's not rough, right? But it has some texture to it. I think his was that way too. I don't think they buffed them. I think it was just spraying the paint on, and when it dried, it was done. We got the little Siggy burn there. You got the tape, right? The pickup tape to mark where the input jack is, so we can find it in the dark or on stage and get it in and out quick. Yeah, the pickup height is obviously set by the depth of the route, and that's pretty much, I think, where you want it. It's pretty close. There's like an 1/8 inch, maybe a little less, between the strings and what have you and the pickup itself. There's videos, I think, on there too of me playing this guitar, so you kind of know what it sounds like. But yeah, you can go on the channel and just look at the whole construction of the thing. And it comes with this brand new Gator case, right? Has never been outside of this house. In fact, today was the first day I took it out of the box. You can see over there's the case for it. And I kind of just opened up a new case to put this one in. And that's the case you're going to get. So there's zero stink. This guitar, obviously I don't smoke. I don't do anything like that. So it smells like nothing. It will smell like the case, which smells like, you know, fur. Case stink, right? Which is cool. Yeah, so I don't know what else we can show you on it. Right, there's the star. It goes there. Right. Look at the whole thing, the shape of it. You know, and I really copied that B series guitar, how the tummy cut was done, you know, and how this arm bevel is kind of rounded. It's not flat, obviously. Just like the actual Kramer guitar that, you know, his was probably made around the same time. So that's the right shape. And the striped pattern, if you don't watch the videos or whatever, I'll just tell you I did it with a projector. And you can watch me actually stripe this guitar. So it is nuts on accurate. You know, I lined up the projection, lined up a photograph of his guitar with a projector onto this guitar when it was white, and then laid the stripes where they needed to be. And, you know, that way it's right on. You know, it takes hours to do all this stuff. I can't believe I'm selling this thing. I don't ever sell things that I make like this. But I got to make room in this place. I'm getting buried by guitars and amplifiers and things. So anyway, cool guitar. I hope whoever gets it really likes it. And that's about it.